What's going on, Jets fans? Welcome into the Jets Report. My name is Patrick Siepman, and we got a major report to dive into today where the New York Jets are looking to add a wide receiver before the start of the season. We obviously know there's a massive drop-off between Garrett Wilson and the wide receiver too, so it could make some sense for GM Darren Mougey to get active in the trade market. But this report was coming in from Dianna Russini. I know Jets fans have some strong opinions on Dianna, but she did have this tweet earlier on today saying the Jets are among several teams monitoring the trade market for potential wide receiver additions. Per sources, the 49ers and Vikings are also making calls. So if the Jets do end up making a move, we will have a video for you guys ASAP. So make sure you hit that subscribe button today. Don't miss out on a thing around your New York Jets. Even if we get another update on who a potential receiver could be, we'll have a video ASAP. So hit that subscribe button today. Help us reach our next milestone here on YouTube. Plus, if you just want more Jets content on your YouTube page, hitting that subscribe button is a great way to do so. All right, so let's first talk about this. Do the Jets need to be aggressive for a wide receiver? Because, I don't view this Jets team as obviously a Super Bowl contender or they're contending to win the division. Now, I'm sure in that locker room and how the coaches are talking to the players, I'm sure if they have a realistic expectation or a realistic goal, it should be like, hey, we should just try to be a wild card team this year. Let's go try to land that 7th seed in a loaded AFC. And with the Jets, do they want to add a receiver, be aggressive, and give up future draft capital to get a guy? That's a question we got to ask. Now, the room definitely has a hit after Garrett Wilson. Like, I'm a fan of Josh Reynolds, one of the best run-blocking receivers in the league. Not the biggest fan of Allen Lazard. I think the Jets could definitely upgrade there, but I think Tyler Johnson behind him is just a better receiver than Lazard at this point. So, you got two solid options, but like Josh Reynolds at this point, he's more of a wide receiver 3, wide receiver 4, where Tyler Johnson kind of in that same category, wide receiver 3, wide receiver 4. So they definitely have a need to get that true number 2 wide receiver. And if the Jets do make a move, let's just say we get a report that they're trading for a wideout, it should not be for a 1-year rental for the point I was just making, where you aren't, trying to get that cherry on top or the icing on the cake, where I'm sure, Russini's saying the Niners and the Vikings are making calls. They're probably more okay with a 1-year rental because they view themselves as true Super Bowl contenders. But for the Jets, I'm sure they're trying to look more for a long-term piece next to Garrett Wilson. And the number one guy, for me personally, is Alec Pierce, wide receiver of the Indianapolis Colts. I truly believe he is one of the most underrated wide receivers in the National Football League. He is one of the best deep threats in the NFL. Obviously, Justin Fields having a big arm. The Jets need to be better at, just generating explosive plays in the passing game. Well, this is a great guy to help out. This past season, ridiculous numbers: 37 catches, going for 824 yards, comes out to 22.3 yards per catch, and that's kind of been more of the same what he did following his rookie and sophomore campaign. And I think Pierce would be a perfect fit for this team, where he's obviously also a very good run blocker, a willing blocker in the run game, which obviously Aaron Glenn would absolutely love. And plus, having that deep threat next to Garrett Wilson, where, we're hoping Arian Smith can step up and be that, soon. But if you want a guy who's already a proven commodity, who can also go up, make some 50-50 plays, he's a great contested catch guy, Pierce would be my number one option. And you would have to extend him. He is in a contract year, but again, I would rather have the Jets trade for a guy that's willing to get an extension, which Alec Pierce falls in that bucket. And if you're wondering how much draft capital, I'm assuming a 3rd-round pick should get it done, because also with the Colts making the decision to go to Daniel Jones over Anthony Richardson, if they had a Rich, then having that deep threat would obviously be more valuable. But with a guy like Daniel Jones who struggles pushing the ball down the field, maybe they're saying, hey, Alec Pierce, might as well get something for him now instead of just letting him walk in free agency. So for a 3rd-round pick, sign me up. This would be the number one move I would want the Jets to make. But a guy that I wouldn't want the Jets to trade for, Terry McLaurin. Now, obviously, everybody wants to have that Ohio State wide receiver room, get that connection built even stronger. And Terry McLaurin is obviously a fantastic wide receiver. I think he is, a borderline top 12 guy in the league. And I think he is kind of like the new Mike Evans, where every single year he'll just go for 1,000 yards. I think he's got 7 straight right now. He's always healthy. I mean, playing in 17 games each of the last 4 seasons. But in terms of a Terry McLaurin trade for the Jets, this just doesn't really make too much sense to me. Now, it looks good on paper. Like, if we're playing Madden or fantasy football and you say, oh, we got Garrett Wilson, Terry McLaurin, like, yes, that sounds great. But if you trade for Terry McLaurin, one, you're going to have to give up a premium draft pick, and two, you're going to have to pay this guy $30+ million per year. He wants DK Metcalf money. He wants Garrett Wilson money. And with Aaron Glenn and the culture he's trying to build here, being a run-first, defensive-minded team, you don't pay two wide receivers $30+ million per year. Also, considering the fact that the Jets aren't true Super Bowl contenders right now. So I just don't think a Terry McLaurin makes too much sense for me. You want to be, relying on your defense, on that run game, and teams that are built like that, you don't see them going out and paying, two wide receivers $30+ million. So a Terry McLaurin trade, it makes no sense to me. I would absolutely not even pick up the phone if I was GM Darren Mougey here. So I'll be out on a scary Terry trade for the New York Jets. But you guys let me know. What would you do? Would you trade for Terry McLaurin? Give me a T for trade. Give me a P for pass. You guys let me know your thoughts down below. If you disagree with me, that's fine. Just explain yourself and hop in the comments section. Let me know your thoughts on a Terry McLaurin trade. Now we'll dive into more names here in a second, but today's episode of the Jets Report is brought to you by Prize Picks. And preseason football is underway and college football is here. So don't miss any of the action this season on Prize Picks. If you guys plug in that promo code CLNS, will hook you guys up with $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks is simple to play. All you have to do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections, and if you get your picks right, you could cash in and win up to 2,000 times your money. Prize Picks is also the best way to get action on sports in more than 40 states, including California, Texas, Florida, and Georgia, and Prize Picks puts their members first. So all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. Prize Picks offers Venmo, Apple Pay, MasterCard, and more for quick and easy deposits into your account this football season. They actually have a free square and a free winner for you guys week 1 of the football season, where just one Dak Prescott passing yard will get you one win on Prize Picks. So make sure you include this in all of your lineups leading up to it. It's a free win, so take advantage on this deal before it's too late. Just one Dak Prescott passing yard equals one win on Prize Picks. Now download the Prize Picks app today. Plug in that promo code CLNS. Get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. A massive shout out to Prize Picks for sponsoring today's edition of the Jets Report. Prize Picks, run your game. All right, let's talk about it. 3 more guys that could potentially be on the trade block and could make some sense for the New York Jets. Now, number 3 here, it's going to be Jakobi Meyers of the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, he is looking to get a contract extension from Las Vegas, and there's been some reporting out there that, he's not happy right now with his contract situation, and maybe the Raiders could be willing to move off him. But Jakobi is a hell of a receiver. I think he's one of the most underrated receivers in the National Football League. He's always been fairly healthy. 0 drops this past year is impressive stuff, going for over 1,000 yards. And also keep in mind, he had Aiden O'Connell, throw him the football this past season. And I was talking to Mitchell Renz, our Raiders Report host, and he thinks Jakobi Meyers should get around $18 million per year. And again, if the Jets are trading for a guy, I would want them to extend him. And with Meyers for $18 million to be the wide receiver 2 next to Garrett Wilson, I would have some interest there. Probably could maybe get him for a 3rd or 4th round pick. So, number 1 would be Alec Pierce. Absolutely not on Terry McLaurin. Jakobi Meyers would have some interest there as well. But number 4 here, we're going to go Christian Watson. Now, Watson is coming off a torn ACL, and the early reports are suggesting that he won't be ready until about week 9 or week 10 of the NFL season. But this is also a guy, we talk about deep threats like Alec Pierce. Christian Watson is just that. Now, he has had some drop issues in the past. That's actually first career game with Aaron Rodgers. It was in Minnesota against the Vikings. Rodgers uncorked a beautiful 75-yard throw. Watson just ended up dropping it, but there are major red flags with Watson. Like, this wouldn't be a low-risk move. This would be a very high-risk move where he has had drop issues. He's had many injuries in the past, but if he could put it all together, again, high-risk, high-reward move is Christian Watson, because when he is healthy and when he's playing some good football, he could be a really dominant wide receiver 2 next to Garrett Wilson. So if you want to get a little risky, Christian Watson may be your guy, but if you want a low-risk, sure thing, that's what we got at number 5, Adam Thielen. Now, this would more fall in the bucket of a 1-year rental, so I wouldn't have, too much interest in Thielen from a Jet side of things. But this guy, people thought when he left Minnesota he was just going to fall off the face of the earth, but he is still a very, very productive wide receiver. Like, even playing in just 10 games this past season, still had 48 catches, 615 yards, went for around 13 yards per catch, found the end zone 5 times. And, there's no doubt, like, Thielen can still play. But if I was running the New York Jets, I would just rather have the young guys develop. Like, Thielen's not going to completely move the needle where it's like, all right, the Jets are a 7-win team. Thielen takes them to a 10-win team. That's not the case anymore. I would just rather have, an Arian Smith or even a guy like Quentin Skinner who's supposed to make the team now just develop, get those real in-game reps. So really the only 2 guys that I would be all in on would be Alec Pierce and then, sorry, I was just blanking on the name, Jacoby Myers, and then maybe Christian Watson if you want to get risky. Those are only 3 guys that I think make a lot of sense for the Jets, but you guys let me know. Name a wide receiver the Jets should trade for. Drop that name down below in the comments section. And also make sure you guys hit that subscribe button on your way out. If we get any more reports or updates on the Jets trading for a wideout, we'll have a video for you guys ASAP. See you guys next time. Go Jets.